Dr. Langer, could chronic fatigue be something else like fibromyalgia?
Fibromyalgia is a syndrome where a person has muscle complaints, particularly point tenderness, all over their body. And one of the major components of fibromyalgia is chronic fatigue. So chronic fatigue can be implicated in fibromyalgia, and they very often go together. A lot of people with chronic fatigue do have musculoskeletal complaints. Now again, fibromyalgia is a garbage can diagnosis.
That's what I thought.
It's not that it doesn't exist. I mean, there are a number of different symptoms which are included in the fibromyalgia syndrome, but it's like chronic fatigue syndrome. It's sort of cause unknown. If you have point tenderness and you got some swollen glands and you're tired all the time, very often a handle is put on you that's called fibromyalgia. Again, I approach my fibromyalgia patients the same way I approach my chronic fatigue patients. People are depleted in nutrients, people are hormonally imbalanced very often, people have nutritional disturbances, people are not exercising, people are not getting enough sleep. All of these things have to be looked into. And I'll tell you quite honestly, there is a huge correlation that I've seen personally between fibromyalgia and an underactive thyroid. A lot of people have to have their thyroid be brought into a state of balance, and a lot of their fibromyalgia symptoms get better. In addition, most adults are not getting enough calcium. So when you do a nutritional evaluation, well, when you think about it, really the only decent source of calcium is dairy products, and most adults are either allergic to dairy or they'll put a little milk into coffee or into tea or a little into cereal or have a little yogurt and say, yeah, I get some dairy, I put a little in my cereal in the morning. You need well over a quart of milk a day to satisfy the adult requirement of calcium, which is 1,200 milligrams a day of calcium or more. So most adults are calcium depleted, as they are depleted in a number of other nutrients. But we'll stick with calcium. So they're calcium depleted, and more it's coming out in the medical literature that there's a virtual epidemic of vitamin D depletion, because a lot of people live in climates where there is not sun many months of the year. And even if a person does live in a sunny climate, like they live in Florida, for example, people who are health conscious put sunscreen on, which blocks out the vitamin D rays, so they're not getting vitamin D. And when you do vitamin D levels, which I do on all my new patients, when I see them, their vitamin Ds are down in the cellar. I mean, the range of normal for vitamin D, without boring people with what it means, but the range of normal for the blood test for 25-hydroxy vitamin D, which is the gold standard for vitamin D levels, up until about 3 or 4 years ago was around 8 to 40.
8 to 40.
8 to 40. Within the last couple of years, it's been changed from 32 to 100. So they were wrong on the downside by over 400%, and wrong on the upside by 250%. So people who, even doctors who took vitamin D levels 4 or 5 years ago, and somebody came out with, say with a 9 or a 10, they say, oh, your vitamin D is fine. Now it's coming out in the literature that if a person has a vitamin D level that's 15 or below, they have like a 2 or 3 time statistical probability of developing coronary artery disease than somebody whose vitamin D level is in the normal range. And vitamin D also has implications for your immune system, and it acts as a neurohormone. But one of its most important characteristics is that it is absolutely essential for your body to absorb calcium. So you could be taking a calcium supplement, but be depleted in vitamin D, and you're not absorbing it. And I see people who, I'm not telling you that everyone is like this, but I mean, it's so remarkable to see this. I see people who come in with muscle spasms, with restless legs, with their eyelids twitching, et cetera, and they're told by the doctors they have fibromyalgia, and I'll take a vitamin D, which will be really low, put them on a decent dose of vitamin D, and within 30 days, all their symptoms are gone. And that really is gratifying to see.
That's remarkable.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, thank you, Dr. Langer.
Pleasure.